The red alert lights of the barren moon base, designated purgatory, painted the sterile white walls in arterial blood. Quarantine officer Eva Rostova ran, the squeak of her mag boots on the grated floor a frantic counterpoint to the shriek of the base's alarms. A containment breach. Level 4. A bioengineered plague, designed to liquefy organic tissue in under an hour, was now loose in the habitat module. Her mission was twofold and under the circumstances utterly insane. Initiate a full base emergency evacuation and extract a single, high-value prisoner designated Subject 0, the source of the outbreak. Rostova to command. The breach is in the medbay. It's already flooded the primary corridor. I'm cut off from the shuttle bay, she yelled into her comm, her voice tight with panic. Negative, Officer Rostova, came the cold, synthesized voice of the base warden. Your orders have not changed. The shuttle is prepped and waiting. Subject 0 is your priority. All other personnel are expendable. Evacuate the asset. That is an order. Expendable. The word hit her like a physical blow. She could hear them through the bulkheads, the screams of the scientists and guards as the plague took hold. But her orders were clear. She was a dog on a leash, and the warden was holding it tight. She reached the maximum security detention block. The door was sealed, but the manual override was still functional. She wrenched the lever, her muscles straining against the hydraulic resistance, and stumbled into the cell block. It was empty, save for one figure in the far cell. Subject 0. He wasn't the monster she'd been briefed on. He was a man, gaunt and pale, dressed in a simple orange jumpsuit. He sat calmly on his bunk, watching her approach. "You're here for me," he said. It wasn't a question. His voice was quiet, devoid of emotion. "The base is being evacuated." "You're coming with me," Rostova said, her hand shaking as she aimed her pulse pistol at the cell's energy field. "They won't let you leave," he said, gesturing to the camera in the corner of his cell. "Not with me. I'm the cure, you see. And the disease. They can't risk me getting out." "Shut up," Rostova snapped, overriding the cell controls. The energy field fizzled and died. "Move." He stood up, his movements surprisingly fluid. "My name is Eris," he said as he walked out of the cell. "And you should know, the plague isn't airborne anymore. It's learned. It's in the station systems now. The water reclamation, the air filters. It's everywhere." Rostova felt a chill that had nothing to do with the base's failing life support. "That's impossible." "Is it?" Eris asked, looking at her with an unnerving intensity. "You've been breathing it in for the last 5 minutes." She felt a sudden, sharp pain in her lungs. A cough racked her body, and she brought a gloved hand to her mouth. When she pulled it away, she saw a smear of red. Blood. The warden had lied. The quarantine had failed the moment it began. This wasn't an evacuation. It was a call. "We have to go," she rasped, pushing him towards the exit. "The shuttle is our only chance." They ran back through the corridors, which were now slick with a viscous, bioluminescent fluid. The base was dying. The lights flickered, and the gravity plating pulsed erratically. They reached the hangar bay just as the outer doors began to close. The shuttle, a sleek, armored vessel, sat on the pad, its ramp lowered. "Hurry," Rostova yelled, shoving Eris up the ramp. She followed, her breath coming in ragged, wet gasps. She slammed her hand on the console to close the ramp and initiate launch. The ramp began to rise, but then it stopped, half-sealed. A red light flashed on the console. Lockdown protocol engaged. Remote overrider in effect. "No," Rostova whispered. She looked out the cockpit window and saw the warden's face on the main hangar screen. He was on the command bridge, safe and sound. "Officer Rostova." The warden's voice boomed over the shuttle speakers. "Your mission is compromised. You and the asset are contaminated. I cannot allow you to leave purgatory. Sacrifices must be made for the greater good." "You can't do this," she screamed, hammering her fists on the console. "You're murdering us." "I am preserving the galaxy," the warden replied, his face impassive. "Your service is noted." With a final, deafening clang, the shuttle's ramp sealed shut. But it wasn't the sound of salvation. It was the sound of a tomb. The shuttle's engines, which had been idling, sputtered and died. The warden hadn't just locked them in. He had cut the power. Eris, the prisoner, the supposed monster, walked to the cockpit and looked out the window. "He's not going to let us leave," he said softly. "But he's not going to let the plague leave, either." Rostova collapsed into the pilot's seat, the blood rising in her throat. She could feel her organs beginning to shut down, the plague rewriting her biology from the inside out. She had failed. She had followed her orders, abandoned her people. And for what? To die in a metal box, a pawn in a game she never understood. She looked at Eris, who was watching the hangar bay doors seal shut, trapping them forever. He didn't look scared. He looked like he was finally home. The last thing Rostova saw before the darkness took her was the warden's face on the screen, cold and triumphant. She had not extracted a prisoner. She had delivered herself.
"It's over, Captain. Your ship is compromised, and your crew is gone. There is nowhere left to run."